That's right, another koala video. So today's topic is about what is your go-to weapon of choice as far as making music, beats, etc., etc. Well, for me, man, it could be anything, but most likely these days, it's been Koala sampling. So I like to deal in chopping samples. So as of late, Koala has enabled you to chop samples on the fly, which is primarily called lazy chop, where the sample plays and you put in your slices manually, and once you're done, it spreads it out across the pads, which is dope because you can literally play a sample in whatever order you want to make your beat. So if you are a sample-based producer like I am, which I do compose as well, original songs without samples, I like to start with a sample because that'll get my creative juices flowing. Then if I need be, I toss it in the Ableton, which is my other weapon of choice, and fully produce the song out. But my recent album, I did all the beats in Koala, Weatherman, Shameless Plug on iTunes or wherever else you buy your music. Yeah, Koala sample. As of late, man, I've been having a lot of fun making beats, man. I just ain't gonna lie, because when you see a lot of computers sometimes, because I do a lot of my beats on the iPad, so I just turn it on and get to cracking. But with computers, sometimes it's a lot of setup you gotta do, so that way you set up your workflow, so that way it makes it easier on the back end for your song to flow better. And for some people, that's not a problem. It's really not a problem for me, but I just like getting straight to it, and Koala allows me to do that. I had a question posed to me on Facebook the other day about chopping samples in Koala, and basically putting them into the sequence, how to create the sequence that will allow the sample to be to tempo. So one of my tricks is, it's just like warping. If you're familiar with Ableton, when you warp a sample, it basically is putting or placing a transient on the hits, whether it be the kick, hi-hat, or snare. And when you do that, you're able to speed up and slow the sample according to the transients. So when I chop a sample, I tend to chop it like that, where I'll put a marker on the kick, sometimes the hi-hat, and then the snare. And you're basically dividing it. When you play it out, you're dividing it to tempo. Now, you can get intricate and time stretch, which I know on Koala you can do that now. If you want to slow or speed the sample up first and then chop it, then according to your tempo, it'll kind of sound a little bit better. But with me, I just like to allow the sample to fall with the tempo, because that'll give its own groove, so to speak, if that makes sense. So I can get robotic with it, and I can chop it up in every interval, the kick, hi-hat, snare. I can do it like that. But a lot of times I like to just I do it and I leave it in the track in its original tempo, but I play it to the tempo that I set, if that makes sense. So like that, if a sample is like this, tap, 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 I may chop the sample where it's double time, tap, 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 tap. And then I'll play it that way, but the sample may be, let's just say for lack of a better word, 70 BPM. But I may play it at like a 90, which means even though the sample is slow, it's gonna give a kind of like a little bop to it, because I'm playing it faster, but the elements in the sample is kind of slow. So it can give you an odd feel, but yet still it gives you its own feel, because you're letting the sample create its own groove and you just fitting it to the tempo. I would implore you to try it and see what I mean, and then I think you will get an idea of how creative you can get with sampling and chopping to your beats. How about I show you what I mean? Okay, so for this sample, which is D'Angelo, How Does It Feel? Right? So I kind of time stretched it a little bit, but it still kind of got a slow tempo. But this how I played it. See how it's got like a little swing to it? Now I'm gonna go to the verse. So yeah, you can get creative, man. Man, Koala is the shit.